Hi everyone, my name is Jewel and I'm the Director of Administration for Remax Aerospace Realty. In this video, this is our first BoldTrail training session, our beginner edition. We did have our first one yesterday. That was in our Satellite Beach office and our Titusville office. We will be holding another one tomorrow, same offices, Satellite Beach and Titusville. This will be taking place from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. After that, in the following week, we'll have two intermediate training sessions. One will be on Tuesday, the other will be on Thursday. Same offices, same time, Satellite Beach and Titusville from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Now, first thing I want to make sure is that you have access to BoldTrail. On Monday morning, I sent out an invitation link to all of your emails. It should look like this, the headline. It should say my name, Barbara's name, or any of our office admins inviting you to BoldTrail back office. When you click that email, you'll see this message pop up. Go ahead and click create a password. It'll take you to a new tab where you can create your password and therefore create your BoldTrail account. In case you didn't receive this email invite, you can go ahead and reach out to our admin team. We're more than happy to confirm the email that we have on file is correct, and we can resend that invitation link to you. Now, just in case you forget your password, we also have the ability to send you a reset password link as well. Just reach out to us and we'll make sure you get that access to BoldTrail. Now, just some important information before moving forward with the training. As most of you know, app files will be discontinued at the end of February 28th. That means you have about 2 weeks left to access and use app files. We did introduce BoldTrail early on just so you can get that exposure and maybe that practice in before the official launch on March 1st. So on March 1st, you will no longer have access to app files and will be solely using BoldTrail as our transaction management system. Now, BoldTrail is reserved for our Remax agents only. Unfortunately, our Surfside agents will not be able to access this platform because it is provided by Remax. So moving forward after March 1st, our Surfside agents, you can use Transaction Desk, Dotloop, or any other program that you're comfortable with. Once you have your paperwork executed, go ahead and forward it, email it over to our admin team. We'll be able to look them over, make sure they're in compliance, and follow up with any paperwork that we're needing before we proceed on to closing. Now, this last bullet is just the link to the BoldTrail login. I'll be sure to include this in my email. When you do receive that, please click on the link and bookmark it, save it, star it, whatever you need to do to keep this for future reference and access it more easily. Now, this is our training checklist. Now, these are the steps we'd like you to move forward with during this transition. So first thing we'd like you to do is watch the BoldTrail introduction video. Now, Kelly has sent this out in several of her emails in the past couple of weeks. If you happen to have lost that in your inbox, no worries. I'll show you where you can access the BoldTrail introduction video in your BoldTrail account, or we can email that over to you. After you watch that video, please come and attend our beginner BoldTrail training sessions. Again, we'll be having one tomorrow, Satellite Beach and Titusville, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. This recording will also be available for your use, so make sure you save it. After you complete the beginner training session, please come to our intermediate BoldTrail training sessions. These will be taking place next week on Tuesdays and Thursday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., Satellite Beach and Titusville. After you complete these steps, we're more than happy to schedule a one-on-one session with you. You'll be set up with an office admin. We'll schedule you in for a one-on-one session so that we can show you in a more personalized environment. Just to make sure that everybody is aware, if you do not watch any of the videos or make any attempts to attend any of the trainings, we will be unable to schedule a one-on-one session with you until you complete these steps. Now, you may have some questions during this transition. What will happen to all my files on App Files? So our admin team is diligently working on adding all of your active, pending, and opportunity transactions from App Files to BoldTrail. Now, this is going to take us some time because we have about 5 admins right now that are working on this, and we have about over 100 agents in our brokerage. So please be patient with us. We really appreciate your understanding while we're trying to get all your transactions up. Now, again, you will have access to App Files until the end of February. So if you do want to get that additional practice, go ahead and visit App Files, grab all of the documents within a file, and create a new transaction in BoldTrail. That way you can practice that way. If there is a specific file that you're looking for, whether it's from previous years and it's after March 1st, our admin team will still have access to App Files. So you can always reach out to us and we'll be able to transfer that file from App Files into BoldTrail. Now, you may be wondering, why are we doing this? Why are we adapting to a new system? So we recognize that App Files had some features that BoldTrail has and it didn't have. So you asked and they delivered. Remax introduced BoldTrail as a modern cloud-based transaction management system, and they had this designed for real estate professionals in mind. So some of the features that BoldTrail offers that App Files doesn't is that it provides goal tracking features, some accounting features, so you get a comprehensive breakdown of your transactions. It also has better reporting tools. That way you can access them more easily and view them whenever you like. It also has some features when it comes to commission breakdowns. We're able to provide you a comprehensive commission breakdown for each of your transactions. And we're also able to show you more visibility and transparency when it comes to billing. You'll be able to see cards that we have on file for you, any bank info maybe. You also have the ability to add and remove cards and bank info. You can see any balances due that you have. It's just a great system overall. Just a lot of information that you'll be able to see. Now in today's session, I'm going to be showing you the following items. So first one I'm going to be showing you is how you can log into BoldTrail, what that looks like after you create your account. Just a general navigation overview. I'll introduce you to each tabs, what they are for, and how you can use them. We did go over how to access FAR forms in yesterday's training session. I will be going over it again tomorrow in the next training session. But I will be including a how-to guide on how to access FAR forms from the comfort of your home. Next, I'll be showing you how to create transactions when you're representing the buying and the listing side. I'll show you how to edit forms, send e-signatures, upload forms, and split them, as well as submit the forms for review to our admin team for compliance. Now let's get started. I also included the link down here for the login, but again, I'll make sure to include that in my email. So after you create your BoldTrail account, this is what the login page looks like. It'll be my.brokerment.com. Again, I'll make sure that you have that link to log in. And then you're just going to input the email and password that you use to create your account. Once you log in, it'll immediately take you to the dashboard section of BoldTrail back office. Let me introduce you to all the features that this dashboard has. So up top, you'll see My Sales Volume. What this is, it's a goal tracking feature. So when we created your accounts, by default, we established your goal as 10,000 for your sales volume. And the time left that you see here is a 12-month period from your anniversary date or when you joined the brokerage. If you do want us to make these edits, we absolutely can. Just reach out to your admin team. Let them know what goal that you want if you want to actively utilize this feature. If not, it's totally up to you, but this is just the default that we have set up. Now over here, this is our announcements section. If we have any company updates or company announcements, we'll make sure to include them here. For now, it's just a welcome to BoldTrail message. And if you scroll down, you'll see that little flyer that we have for all of our training sessions taking place tomorrow and next week. Over here is our useful links section. So instead of opening up a new tab, going to our intranet, searching for links like paid at the table, sign installs, or marketing on demand, you can find them all here in the dashboard section of your BoldTrail account. We did include the most frequently used ones here. And then to the right is some videos and general and other information. So this is where you can access the BoldTrail introduction video. You'll immediately see it upon signing in because it'll take you to your dashboard. And there's that BoldTrail introduction video. Again, please make sure you watch this video first, attend the beginner session, then the intermediate session, and then we're more than happy to schedule a one-on-one with you. Right below it, you'll see the NAR settlement info, just in case you need a refresher for compensation agreements, buyer agreements, and whatnot. When you scroll down, you'll see the recent transactions area. So this will just populate your most recently visited transactions rather than just navigating to this transactions tab to the right. It's just more convenient having it down here if you previously worked on it. Now over here, I want to show you this feature. Make sure you use this to its full advantage. It's actually an online chat or help center section. You can also provide feedback on the overall setup of the platform. This will be sent to the back office. So BoldTrail back office support team will receive your feedback and they'll consider your suggestion and maybe see if it's feasible. In case you need any of that additional help and you're not able to reach out to your admin team, you will be able to use this online chat feature. So when you click that, you can actually get connected with a live representative. If you don't feel like chatting with anybody, you can also use this over here. This is basically the search bar looking for articles specific to whatever you're trying to do. For example, if you're trying to create a transaction, you can go ahead and click that link. And it'll take you to an article where it shows you step-by-step how to do so. And you see GIFs over here on how you can do that. And just a great step-by-step guide. Some articles do have short videos on how to do whatever task you're looking for, like e-signatures. So absolutely use this to your full advantage. If you are looking for something quick, you can go ahead and use that chat feature, get connected with a live representative. It'll give you the option to search articles or ask a question. When you hit ask a question, you'll be able to input your question on there and get connected to a live representative. And you can see here, they're pretty fast. Under 5 minutes, you'll get connected to one. So I'm going to go ahead and navigate to this pipeline tab over here. It's right below the dashboard. So pipeline is essentially just a general overview of what your progress looks like so far. So on this left side, it's showing me the statuses of my transactions and then any previous transactions that closed in previous months. You can also adjust how you want to view it, which side that you're representing. And you can see it'll make those adjustments here on the right as well. So on this side, I see the total of transactions for the side that I'm representing, and I put down any side. So I have 3 transactions here, and they're listed down here. And it also shows like an estimate down here. So this is showing my sales volume estimate. If I want to change that, I can absolutely do so by clicking this button. And then this is where I can see my estimated net income. So please keep in mind that, again, this is an estimate. This is not the official number. If you are looking for that official report, please give our admin team a call or send them an email. We'll be able to get that to you. I'm going to go ahead and navigate to that transactions tab from the left, and this is what it looks like. So at the top, you'll see over here is the number of transactions that you currently have. Right now, I only have 3. And then it'll also show you the estimated net income from all of these transactions. Down here, this is just filters that you can actually create and adjust. I went ahead and selected the drop down, and it's showing I have closed and canceled, closing this month, or anything that requires attention. You can also create a new filter. So when I go ahead and hit create new, it'll ask you how you want to title this. I can do pending or closed. And then it's asking what information do you want populated when you select this filter. I'm going to make sure that I have the owner and the side that I'm representing pop up. And then down here, it's asking you statuses of the property. So I want to make sure that I deselect opportunity, active. And because I only want to see pending and closed transactions, I want to make sure pending and closed are checked. From there, I can hit save. And then now it'll take me to my pending and closed transactions. So since I only have 3 transactions, I only have one of them pending, and that's why it populated here. Now, let's say, for example, I want to make any edits or I want to delete them. All I have to do is click that drop down again. I can go ahead and hit pending. It'll take me to this. I'm going to select it again and hit edit view. And this is where I can make my adjustments. Let's say maybe I don't want to see pending and I want to add any more statuses here, and I want to deselect price, representing, or status. I can go ahead and do that. If I want to delete it, I can do so just by clicking delete view. So if you do see 0 transactions, don't panic. Just make sure you click that drop down and then select any of the other filters that you're trying to look for. I selected active and I see all my active ones here now. This is the search bar, so in case you have many transactions and you're looking for something specific, you can search by keyword. So you can search by street name. If I'm looking for one of my transactions for Main Street, it'll pop up here. I'll be able to select that and it'll take me straight to the transaction. I'm going to hit back. You can also search by contact name or MLS number. Now over here, this is where you can create transactions. So when I click create transactions, I actually have 2 options. This create new option will be where you have to manually input the information, but we also have the search MLS integration here. So when I click that, I can input either the MLS number or the property address. Now let's input an MLS number. So when I input that MLS number and hit search, it'll automatically open up the exact property that is posted on Flex MLS. Now I'll be able to select that. All the information that is posted on Flex MLS will populate into my transaction. And when I create any forms, that information, any relevant information, will populate onto those forms. I'll show you what that looks like at a later time, so I won't go ahead and create the transaction now, just because I want to show you all these other tabs. So the next tab I want to introduce you to is our contacts tab. So this is just showing you all the contacts that you currently have. And then you're also able to adjust those filters as well. If you're searching for a specific person, you can go ahead and use this search bar. And if you want to add any contacts, you can utilize this over here. Now, any contacts that you add on here will actually integrate into your CRM on KV Core, which is now called MaxTech Platform. So I want to show you how you can edit or add contacts. I'm going to go ahead and click this add contact button. Now, first thing that you're going to see at the top over here, you click this drop down and it's actually asking you, how do you want to categorize this, this client? So I'm going to go ahead and select buyer. Now the red is telling you information that we absolutely need to add them into the file. I'm going to go ahead and put John as the first name, Smith as the last name. Now I want to make sure that in this section over here, available to, you have to make sure that it is put as me only private. When you put everyone, that means everybody within your office. So let's say that you're in the Satellite Beach office. All agents that are assigned to the Satellite Beach office will be able to see your contact and their contact information. So please make sure you always select me only private. The AI integration that BoldTrail has is actually great because as you keep adding contacts onto here and you keep selecting me only private, it has this behavior automation tracker where it'll automatically, when you create a new contact, it'll automatically save the available to me only private. But again, please make sure that when you add contacts, it is me only private if you don't want anybody else to access that contact. I'm going to go ahead and hit create, even though I don't have an email or phone number. If you do want to make any edits to this, you can go ahead and select their name. So let's say I want to edit John Henry. It'll populate on this right side over here. So you'll see private, make public. This is where you can easily switch him from your client to everybody's client. But again, make sure you hit me only private and this is selected to private. If I want to make any edits here, I can do so here. Let's say I want to reclassify him as an other and now I want to classify him as a seller. I can do that here, making sure that available to is me only private. And then I can add in his email over here and phone number as well. So I'm going to go ahead and navigate to our library tab over here. So when you hit this library tab, you'll see that this is our company library and there are only two folders in here. So this library tab is solely storage for in-house forms. That's why you're seeing the document storage feed, disclosure forms, and you're also seeing some commonly used in-house forms here. If there are any in-house forms that you need, please reach out to our admin team and let them know, and we can work on getting that added onto here so that you're able to use it. Now, when I went ahead and selected in-house forms folder, and I selected, let's say, the coming soon addendum, you'll see that you're not able to make any edits to it. You're only able to download them from here or view it from here. You cannot make any edits. The company library in this library tab is solely for in-house form storage only. Now in this calendar tab, this is where you'll see any tasks that you have due. So these are going to be forms that you have due, the property addresses that they're assigned to. And then as you get them completed, they'll be removed from your calendar. But it's just a refresher of what forms you're missing for each of your transactions too. Now this is our notifications tab. In here, you're able to manipulate and try to filter out what emails you're wanting to receive when any changes to BoldTrail or transactions are made. So go ahead and take your time to read through each of them. If you don't want those emails, you can go ahead and click the little toggle button over here and mark them as off. But I'm going to mark them as on and leave them as is. Again, take your time to go over each of them. Make sure that you're not putting off for any task due or any other like comments that are made on your transactions. I'll go ahead and navigate to the account tab. So this is just showing you what account you have access to. So as of right now, we have a similar setup to app files where we have all offices and all agents separated by their office. So right now I'm currently in the Melbourne account and only have access to this Melbourne account. Now, I went ahead and hit that billing side. This is where the transparency comes in. So I'm able to see that I have my Amex on file. So that means that whenever my management fees are due, they'll be charging this card. Again, please keep in mind that if you do have a credit or debit card on file, there will be a 3% processing fee charged to your card as well. If you do want to avoid that, you can definitely bring in a check, or you can also add in your bank info here. Statements here will pop up, and they'll pop up at the first of every month, just letting you know, hey, this is going to be your balance due and how much you'll be charged and the next billing period. Down here is my transaction history, so I'm able to see any invoices that are due. I see my total balance over here as $48.50. If I do want to know what these invoices are for, I can just go ahead and select them. So I selected invoice 1020, and to the right, I'll see when it was invoiced to me, when this payment is due, and then here is what it's for. And then I can go ahead and select this as well. And this is where I can see why I owe $450. It was for color copies, and I was invoiced on February 11th for it. Now, this add-ons tab are just some programs that can be integrated with BoldTrail. At this moment, we're not looking to add in and integrate any other programs until we get our basics established and the final setup of BoldTrail up and running. And then finally, you have that sign out button over here. All right, so let's go ahead and create a transaction. I'm currently in the dashboard of my BoldTrail account. I want to navigate to this transactions tab over here. So the first example we're going to be doing is when you're representing the buyer. Let's say that I finally have a buyer, her name is Jane Doe, and I need to get a buyer agreement signed from her. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go at the top over here, select create transaction, and hit create new. I can't use the search MLS feature because that buyer doesn't have a property in mind at the moment. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit create new so I can manually enter the info. When I hit create new, this little window will pop up. So the type that it's asking us, you can select from these if it's a rent or lease. This buyer wants to buy a home, so I'll put traditional sale. Status, if you do have a buyer, go ahead and select opportunity. Now after you selected opportunity for your buyer, this is where you're going to select representing. And again, this person is a buyer, so I'm going to go ahead and click that. The transaction name over here, you'll see that after I selected buyer, this section was highlighted red. So it's asking you, well, since you don't have an address affiliated with this buyer because it's still an opportunity, how do you want to find this transaction? Easiest way is just buyer Jane Doe. Now you can input this information here. When you input as much information as possible here, it'll actually pop up and into your forms. I'll show you that at a later time. We'll see it more when we create a transaction on the listing side. You can go ahead and select this additional fields if you do want to add in any of this info, but again, I will not be able to because I am representing the buyer here. So I can click on additional fields to make that smaller again and hit next. Now in this section, it's asking you how much is your commission. Since you're representing the buyer side, how much will that be? As of right now, I don't have a set one, but I'll keep it at 0 for now. Or if I do have an idea, I can always input 2.5%, 3%, whatever that is. So I'll go ahead and input 2.5% just because that's what I'm planning on getting now. And this can be changed at a later time as well. Now on this right side over here, I want to make sure that I add myself as the agent that's collecting that commission. So I'm going to go ahead and click this over here and hit add agent. Now it's going to ask you to input your name because you're representing the buyer. So that's my agent account, Jewel Audrey. Once I hit save, now it's going to ask you how much of the 2.5% is this agent getting. And I inputted 100% over here. So let's say that I am splitting this transaction with another fellow agent that is in the same office as me or that's on my team. I'm able to do that. I can go ahead and change this. Let's say I want to do 70%. And then I can add another agent by clicking that button again, add agent, And now I can search up that agent that is in my office. And hit save. And now I can make that adjustment here. 100% will always automatically populate, so please make sure that you're doing your math correctly and doing that. So that's how you're able to split those commissions. The admin team will be able to see this split as well, especially if you're on a team setting. However, I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that I get 100% of the commission. I'm going to go ahead and hit next. Now it's asking me to input a buyer. So if I don't have a buyer on file, I can go ahead and add one. So I can hit create new. And now it's asking me to create a new contact. Now, again, I'm going to make sure I classify this contact correctly by inputting whatever side or however I want to categorize them, in this case, buyer. Make sure it's available to me only private. And then I can input their names here. So Jane Smith, and then an email for them. All right. So I created Jane Smith as a contact for my buyer, and then I have Barbara as the broker. Now, please make sure you have Barbara selected as the broker, because it's going to be asking for the broker signature, and that's going to be the broker of the company. I'm going to go ahead and hit create. And then now you can see what your transaction looks like. So let's say that, oh, actually, Jane Doe, Doe isn't actually her last name, and I want to change it to Smith, how I created it on the contact. If I want to make that edit or any changes to the transaction, I can do so by clicking this edit button over here. Once I click that, it'll ask me if I want to edit it, switch the transaction from active or to pending, and I can even create a copy of the transaction if I need to. But for this case, I'm just going to edit it so that I can change the transaction name to Jane Smith. I'm going to go ahead and save that. And let me introduce you to all of the features within this transaction. So this is what your quote-unquote file will look like for each of your transactions. You'll see checklists over here. I'll show you how to add that. On here, you'll also see documents. When I click that, it'll actually show you a list of documents that you're needing. I'll show you that after we create the checklist. This unsorted section over here is your agent workspace. So the admins will not come into this area because this is the area where you're still collecting signatures, still inputting information. And this is just an area that you're going to be editing documents and whatnot. You'll see right below it is an offers tab. So this tab, we actually haven't quite explored it too much. So just stand by while we explore this feature, and any updates that we have, we'll make sure to update everybody on it. The next tab below is showing users and contacts. So it's just showing you who is involved in the transaction. So I see myself on here twice as the transaction owner, which is exactly what I want because I'm the agent and I own this transaction. But I've also added myself as the buyer's agent. I want to make sure I categorize myself as the correct role, either listing agent or seller's agent or buyer's agent, because I want to make sure I'm collecting that commission. I also see that Jane Smith is on here as well. And then Barbara is established as our broker. Down here is an activity section. So it's just showing all the recent activity that occurred within this transaction. So I'm able to see that I recently updated from Jane Doe to Jane Smith. And I was able to apply all those other plans here. Now let me show you how to add a checklist. I'm going to go ahead and hit this add button over here. Now it's asking you, let's add a checklist. What template are you looking for? So when I hit this drop down over here, it'll show me a list of options. You just select what side you're representing. So in this case, buying side. And let's say that Jane Smith is looking for a single family home. I'm going to go ahead and select buying single family HOA. And then office administrator, it's going to ask you to input an office administrator. You don't have to input a close date because we don't have one yet, but anything that's highlighted red, you will need to input before moving forward. So I just want to make sure that we are inputting the correct office administrator. So if you are in the Satellite Beach office, your office admin is Hannah. If you are in the Titusville office, your office admin is Jennifer. Our Cocoa Beach agents, your office admin is Victoria. And if you're in Palm Bay, Melbourne, or Rockledge, you will be inputting Kayla as your office administrator. So again, if you're in Satellite Beach, your office admin is Hannah, Titusville is Jennifer, Victoria is Cocoa Beach, and Kayla is overseeing Melbourne, Rockledge, and Palm Bay files. So I went ahead and selected Kayla because I'm in the Melbourne office. And I'm going to go ahead and select Add. Now this is what the checklist looks like here. To the left, you'll see who it's assigned to. It'll show their initials. So I see that my office admin, Kayla, is assigned to inputting the admin notes over here. JA is my initials. So I see that I'm assigned to complete this task. Will you or your client be paying the $295 storage fee and whatnot? Over here, you'll see just the list of items that we're needing for the transaction. So I'm going to go ahead and show you. When I select buyer agreement, because I need a buyer agreement executed, I can go ahead and select that task. Now you'll see this Use Forms button. When you select this, you'll be able to easily access all the forms that you're needing. Now, we customized these checklists and included these forms just for easy access. So you're able to select one of the 3 buyer agreements that you need. So let's say I want to use the exclusive buyer agreement and I want to delete showing agreement and the pre-touring agreement. I can go ahead and to the right, hit these X buttons. And then if I just want that buyer agreement, this is perfect, exactly what I need. I'm going to go ahead and select Next. Now, this is asking you who are the signers and other parties that are involved in this transaction. So I want to make sure that the broker is set up as Barbara, my buyer is Jane Smith, and I myself am the buyer's agent. If there is no buyer too, I can go ahead and delete that and confirm yes, delete signer and fields. Now, just in case I do need to add a second buyer, it will pop up down here as well, but you can also add another signer with this button over here. And scrolling down and hitting select another person, and you'll be able to input whatever contact or whoever that second buyer is here. But for this purpose, I'm going to go ahead and click X because I'm only working with one buyer. You'll see this button over here, Assign Signer Order. Please do not select this checkbox. When you select this checkbox, what happens is when you send an e-signature, it will ask Barbara to sign the form first before it sends the e-signature to all other parties. So that means that if I click this, that means Barbara will receive the e-signature request first, and once she signs it, then Jane Smith will be getting the e-signature request. Once Jane Smith signs, then I will be able to sign as the buyer's agent. If you do want to use this function, you are able to recategorize who signs first by dragging and dropping. So I can sign first, and then I want my buyer to sign, and then I want Barbara to sign. But again, I highly discourage you on using this feature. Please deselect this, and that way, when you send an e-signature request, it'll go to all parties at the same time and obtain signatures by whoever signs first. I'm going to go ahead and hit Next. And now it is taking me to the editing form section here. So I see that in my buyer agreement, Jane Smith's name automatically populated as the consumer or buyer. Then Remax Aerospace was immediately added onto here. So this should be default. Now you'll see that location, buyer Jane Smith. That's because we titled our transaction as buyer Jane Smith. That's how we're locating it. If I do want to change that, change the location, I can go ahead and select this. And I'm going to go ahead and put Florida as the location to make that edit. So I'm able to go through this form and then input any information here. So type of property she's looking for is residential. So I'm able to edit this form. I can input the dates here. And then when I scroll down, I can see that there are signature sections or initial sections for everyone. So when I click this, I want to make sure that buyer 1 is required to sign that. And then you'll see here, this is assigned to the broker to initial, and clicking this means the buyer's agent or myself, I'm assigned to sign that. Now, it has been official as of this morning. All of our FARBAR forms currently have the $295 document storage fee. In case you don't see it on one of the FARBAR forms you're using, please let our admin team know and we can reach out to the development team in back office. That way we can include that on there as well. So let's say everything looks good. I don't need to add anything else onto here. So I'm going to go ahead and go here. Make sure you hit save and close. If you're not ready to send an e-signature, hit save and close. That way it'll save the progress of your form. If you do not hit save, your edits will not be saved. So again, please make sure you always hit save after editing forms. Otherwise, you will be unable to, you will have to start all over again. So let's say that I'm ready to send an e-signature. What I did, let me just go back. What I did is I selected this. It says that it's uploaded, but essentially what that means is that we have it here attached as a form to the task. That's all that it means. It does not mean that it has been submitted for approval. It just means that you do have a form in here, but it has not been submitted for review, and it also hasn't been sent for e-sign. Let's say that I'm ready to send an e-signature request. I'm going to go ahead and select the specific task. I can hit edit/e-sign. It'll take me to this over here, just making sure if there are any other signers that are involved. There's only one buyer. I have Barbara as the broker and myself as the agent. So I'm going to continue to next. And then now I can edit the form if I need to. But I want to send an e-signature. So the way that I can do that, I can go ahead and click this drop down and hit send for e-sign. Now, this is a automatic default template that will be sent to the client, to Barbara, and to myself for e-signature. You'll see the assigned signer order here again, just making sure if you do want to use that function, making sure that Barbara signs first, Jane Smith, and then yourself. You can change the order, but I don't want to use this. I don't want to use this feature. I highly encourage you to deselect that. Now I can go ahead and hit sign and send. And it'll take me back here. So I'll go ahead and review the form. And it's actually asking me to sign as the sales associate. And I know that because there's this red area over here for me to initial. When I click that, my initial will populate. It'll ask you either if you want to draw your signature or initial, or you can select the typed version here. One feature that BoldTrail has, they have a e-signature compliance, so you're not able to select sign for all, initial for all. It does ask you to go page by page to initial and sign where needed. And then now it's asking me here to sign as authorized associate or broker. I can go ahead and select that. And then click this. And then I can hit this finish button. And it's going to ask me for my review and consent, and if I agree to electronic records and signatures. Select that, and I can hit finish. Now, this is what it'll look like to the right. Right over here, it'll show you that the form has been uploaded, but we're waiting for signatures. If you do want to see the status, you can go ahead and select this e-signatures over here. You can see who signed, and you can see that the e-signature request was sent. You also have the option to hit that resend, or if the client changed their email recently, you can go ahead and select that feature here and edit and resend that e-signature request. So I just want to show you what that e-signature request will look like on the client's end. So after I sent that e-signature request, I see this populate. This is my quote unquote client email. I'm going to go ahead and select this. And now it's showing that, hi, Jane Smith, your agent has requested your signature. They can hit review and sign. Now, once they select that button and hit continue, I can actually review and see if they viewed that. Let me go ahead and refresh my screen. I'm going to select buyer agreement because I sent that e-signature, and select e-signatures. Now I can see that Jane Smith actually viewed the document here. So, and when they view it, you can also still resend for e-signature as well, just in case it gets lost in their inbox or whatnot. But let me show you what it'll look like on the agent or on the client's end. So they'll be doing the same thing. They can hit that next button to the right, and it'll ask them for their initials here. Now this is what it'll look like, where it'll ask them to draw their signature, but they can also do type initials, and that'll automatically populate. Hit adopt and initiate, and then you'll see this next button telling them and navigating them to where you want them to sign. Now it's asking for a drawn signature, but I can hit type signature, adopt, and sign. So now it's asking me to it's asking the client to input all these mandatory fields. You may want their address and zip code and telephone number, but if you don't want their fax, you can definitely make that adjustment before sending the e-signature. So let's say I want to send a buyer agreement to my client. I went ahead and created the checklist, and I want to navigate to this task. So if you do want to send just one form for e-signature, you can go ahead and navigate to that task by selecting it and hitting use forms. Now, whatever task you select, buyer agreement, and I hit use forms, all three forms will show up here. We made sure to create the checklist and attach those forms for each of the tasks that are assigned to you, just for your convenience. So what I'm gonna do, I'm also gonna show you the buying form package here. So when I click that and hit use forms, all possible forms that you will need will be on this side here. Now, you'll see to the right, there are some details regarding that specific task, and it's just showing you customize the buying package as you see fit. It tells you what it contains. Let me show you how to delete those extra forms that you may not need. So again, I want to send a buyer agreement to my client, Jane Smith. I'm going to click that task and hit use forms. And I want to make sure that I delete the extra forms that I don't need. So I want Jane to sign the buyer agreement, but I don't want her to sign the showing agreement or the pre-touring agreement. So what I did is I just hovered over the specific form, and to the right, I clicked that X button. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit next. And what it's asking me is who are the other signers that are involved in this form. So I want to make sure that I have Barbara as the broker because we do need her signature. I have Jane Smith as buyer 1 and myself as the buyer's agent. There is no buyer 2, so I can either leave this alone or hit that X button here. Then it'll ask you to confirm if you need them, so I hit yes. And then just in case I accidentally did that and I actually did need a second buyer, luckily it'll populate down here and I can easily add them here after I created them as a contact. Now, this button, I just wanted to provide some insight on what this assign signer order means. When you select this button, it means that when you send the e-signature request, it's going to make sure that it is sent and signed by the order that we see here. So that means when I click this button, Barbara will receive an e-signature request first, and once she finishes signing, then Jane Smith, my client, will get that e-signature request email and sign. So that means I will not be able to sign as the agent until Jane Smith signs. Jane Smith will not be able to sign until Barbara signs. So, just for best practice, make sure that this checkbox is deselected. When you do that, all recipients will receive the email signature at the same time and sign whenever it is most convenient for them. Once I verify that I have all signers and other parties, I'm going to go ahead and hit next. And it'll take me to this editing page. So I see here that Jane was automatically populated as my buyer here, which is awesome. Remax is automatically populated under the brokerage. And you'll see here that the buyer, Jane Smith, was populated under location. So the reason why this happens is because the name of my transaction is buyer Jane Smith. If I did have a location tied to the transaction and I inputted that as my transaction name or the property address, that will populate here. But luckily, I can edit this, erase it, and replace it with whatever whatever info I need to. So for location, I'm going to input Florida. Type of property will be residential, just to be as general as possible. Over here, I'm able to input the dates when the buyer agreement will take into effect. So I can do 12 February of 2025. And then I can make this terminate, in April 12th of 2025. So as I scroll down, I can see that there are other fields here, so I'm able to click them and manipulate them if needed. So I went ahead and selected this this initial box over here, and this is for the buyer to sign, and it is required. I want to make sure that this is selected because it means that the buyer has to initial here. And then you'll see this orange initial spot here is reserved for the broker, Barbara. And over here is reserved for me. So you won't be able to sign in this section after you save this document and send it for e-sign. You will be able to sign it immediately. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. And this is what I wanted to show you. So as of today, I received the confirmation from the development team that our $295 document storage fee will automatically populate on all FARBAR forms wherever is necessary. In case you don't see that, please reach out to our admin team and let us know. That way we can reach out to BoldTrail support and have them make those edits there. So I want to make sure that I input this here. Just fill out this form as you go. You'll be able to edit, make those changes. I'm going to scroll down. And then this is the section that is reserved for the client to sign. So if I select that, it's asking the buyer to fill it out. So I want to make sure that they do fill out their consumer name, which is over here. But if you want to fill it out for them, you can also hit fill now and then input their name here. So this is where the buyer is required to sign. I can select this, and when I select address, I can see that this is marked as required for the buyer to fill out. If I do want to make those changes, for example, I don't want them to fill out their address, just easily deselect required. And then now I can make those changes. So fastest mile or fax, I can select that and deselect required. So that means when this is sent out for e-signature, the buyer will not have to fill out these areas. And then maybe I want them to input their email, but for now I'll just do deselect required. So this form is ready to be sent. I see over here that my signature is requested as well as the broker's, and then those initial spots are right there. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this drop down and send for e-sign. Before I do that, I want to make sure that every time you edit a form, you make sure to save and close if you don't plan on sending the e-signature immediately after you edit the form. So that means that if I edited this form and I close out this tab, all my edits that I made will not be saved. So if you don't plan on sending the e-signature after you edit the form, please hit save and close. I'm going to hit this drop down and I'm going to send for e-sign. I also have the option to download it and print it if I'm obtaining a wet signature, but I can send for e-sign. When I select that, I'll see who the signers are here. And then it says that's assigned signer order again, just verifying in case you do want to do that signer order. But again, please deselect this just as a general rule of thumb so everybody can receive the request at the same time and sign it whenever it's convenient for them. You can also CC any recipients onto here. Let's say that you want to add in your transaction coordinator. You can do that here so long as they are added to our system. If you do need transaction coordinators added to the system, please reach out to your office admin and we'll be able to get them that access. Down here is just an email template. It's a default template that is automatically generated. So this is the subject line of what it'll say. And then just like a brief message over here. You can customize this as you like, but I'm just going to leave it as is and hit sign and send. Now, when I do that, it'll open this page up. Now you notice that you're not able to make any edits, but when I scroll down, it is asking for initials as the sales associate. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this over here, and I'm able to sign. Now I can go ahead and scroll down, or I can hit this next button, and it'll take me there where I can click it. And then signature and sign. And then I can hit finish. It'll ask for your review and sent and your agreement to use electronic records and signatures. I have to click check and finish. So now I'm able to see that this document is attached to this task and that I am waiting on signatures. I know that because this e-signatures tab will open up. When I select that, I'll see that I signed as the agent, and I'll see that Barbara and Jane Smith received signature requests here. This is just a confirmation that it was sent, but when they do open the document, it will update, and let me show you what that looks like. So when the client receives that e-signature request email, here's what it'll look like. It'll pop up in their email as your agent with Remax Aerospace Realty, and then I'm going to go ahead and select that. And then I'll see here, hello, your agent has requested your signature. I'll hit review and sign. Now, when they open this and hit continue, we'll be able to see that they reviewed the document. So let's go back to BoldTrail on the agent's end and see what that update looks like. I just refreshed the page and I'm going to go ahead and hit buyer agreement, e-signatures. And then now I can see that Jane Smith, my client, actually viewed the document. So in case that she viewed it and then lost it in her inbox, I am still able to resend that for signature just by clicking those three dots and hitting resend. But let me show you what it looks like on the client's end when they sign. So it'll look exactly like this, the way that you saw it. I'm going to go ahead and hit next, and then they'll be asked to input their initials in every text box. So they can either draw it or hit type initials and select adopt and initiate. So every time the client hits next, they're able to click on the areas that they need to sign an initial, and then they'd be able to draw their signature here, or we can just do a typed signature and adopt that. Now you see that this yellow section here, that means it is optional for the client to input, and that is because we went over the document, selected this text box, and deselected the required checkbox. That's why they're able to do it like when they receive the request, but it's not optional for them to do so. Again, you'll have to go through the form and then just select that text box and deselect those required sections there if you don't need it. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll down and just finish up the last initial, and then now I can hit finish. It's going to ask them the same thing for their review and consent, and we can hit finish. And now it's giving them this confirmation that once everybody has signed the document, then they will receive a copy. I'm going to go ahead and close that. And when I refresh my screen, I'll be able to select the buyer agreement, select e-signatures, and see that myself, the agent, signed, my client signed, and I'm just waiting for Barbara's signature. But in the meantime, I can still scroll down and select this document and review what it looks like. So I see that I have my initials there that I needed, and everything looks good. I'm still waiting on Barbara's signatures, but at the end, you will see this package certificate. So it'll show you when they signed and their initial and their signatures here. And this is just that certification authentication for e-signatures. I'm going to go ahead and close that. So just some important information regarding the broker signature for our forms. So all signature requests for the broker will be sent to this email address here. So all of our admins have access to this email, and we will check this on a daily basis several times throughout the day to sign any signature request that is required by the broker. So once I get everybody's signatures, I'll see this update on my checklist. So I see uploaded and signed. That means that I myself, the agent, signed, Barbara has signed, or our admins have signed on behalf of Barbara, and then Jane Smith, my client, has signed. I can go ahead and confirm by going and selecting the document below. And then now I can see that I got signatures where I need them, or initials where I needed them. And then I have everybody's signatures and initials on the last page. Well, this being our last page is just the package certificate for e-sign, and it documents and shows exactly when it was signed, the IP addresses and whatnot. BoldTrail does have a legal or e-signature compliance standard that they have. So let me just select back. So just as another special note, like I mentioned, Barbara, any broker signatures that are needed, they will be sent to this shared aerospace coordinator's email that all of our admins will visit Monday through Friday. And they'll be able to sign on behalf of Barbara. If you have multiple clients, you have a husband and wife, and they have a shared email, unfortunately, the BoldTrail's e-signature compliance does not allow for the same clients to have the same, or they do not allow clients to have the same email. So if you have a husband and wife that have a shared email, one of them will have to create a false email or create an email to sign for e-signature, or you will have to obtain a wet signature and upload the documents. So since I have this, it's all signed and I think it's ready to be submitted for review, I can go ahead and select this button over here, Submit. Now it says pending approval, which means that it has been sent to our admin team to review for approval. In case it does get rejected for whatever reason, it has the same function as app files. So the admins will select reject and input a message as to why it was rejected. You'll receive that email and you'll also see that update here on BoldTrail. That way you can make those changes. Now, let's say that I got some wet signatures on several forms and I need to upload that into here. I'll be able to do so by going to my agent workspace. The way you can find that is selecting the transaction, click Documents, and right below it, an unsorted section should pop up. I'm going to go ahead and select Unsorted. So now it's telling me that there are two ways that I can upload documents here. I can send an email with the attached form to this over here, the same way that App Files has. So in the To section, you would copy and paste this and then attach those documents as an attachment. But if I want to upload those documents, I can do so by clicking here, Add Document, select Upload File, and it'll open up these over here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Split Docs, select Upload. And Split Docs is just the name of the form that I have it as. So I want to make sure that I split these because there are 5 total pages for the HOA, the FHA VA rider, as well as the flood disclosure. So I want to go back and I want to select Edit. And when I select that, I can hit Split. I also have the option to merge them, but I don't have any other documents to merge. But it has the same feature similar to App Files. So I'm going to go ahead and select Split. And then I'm able to input the page numbers here and how I want to name them or what task I want to input them into. So I'm going to go start from page 1, scroll down, and I want 1 to 2 as my HOA disclosure. So I can go over here to the document name and input HOA. Now I'm able to select where I want to input that and it finds that task by keyword. So I'm going to go ahead and select HOA disclosure here. And that means it'll be in the buying single family HOA checklist under the HOA disclosure task. Now I'm going to scroll down and from pages 3 to 4, I want this under the FHA VA rider. So I just inputted FHA and then this task will pop up under the buying single family HOA checklist. I'm going to go ahead and select that. Now the last page that I have is page 5 and that is a flood disclosure. I don't necessarily need that for the buying checklist, but I have it just in case. So I'm going to go ahead and put from page 5 to page 5. And since this is not in our checklist, and I know that because I'll input flood and nothing pops up, I'm going to go ahead and select this new question mark. And now it's asking me, what checklist did you want to add this to? I only have the buying side, so that's going to be automatically selected. And it's asking how you want to title this task. I'm going to input this as flood disclosure because that's what this form is. And then hit save. And then now I can select split. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh. And then those documents, when I hit the checklist, they will populate onto here. So I see the flood disclosure task here has been uploaded, which is great. I have the HOA disclosure, which has been uploaded, and the FHA writer that we split from that form package here as well. So let's say all three of these forms are ready to be sent in for approval for compliance. I can go ahead and submit all three by selecting this action button and selecting submit for review. Now it's just asking you, are you sure you want to submit this for review? And then you can hit confirm or cancel just in case, but I'm going to select confirm. Now there's a couple of ways that you can do the submit for review. If you only want to do one at a time, so let's say that I got the compensation agreement signed, I'll be able to submit that for review just by selecting that task specifically. And in this box over here, it'll show submit. But you also have that option to do submit for review the way that you saw it up here. Now let me show you how to create a transaction when you're representing the sellers or the listing side and you want to use that Search MLS integration. So I'm in my Transactions tab, and at the top right, I'm going to select Create Transaction and Search MLS. Please keep in mind that you can only use this Search MLS integration if the property is actively listed on Flex MLS or if it's marked as pending. If the property is canceled or closed, it will not pop up in the Search MLS integration. So you can search by MLS number. 658. And when I click search, it will bring up the property and all the information that was on MLS. Now, you can also search by property address if you don't know the MLS number. So if I wanted to just search for Elmont, I can go ahead and do that. And it'll show me all of the listings that we have here that have this keyword within them. So I can see Delmont on here because this portion is actually found there. But the correct one that I'm looking for is this one right over here. So I'm going to go ahead and select this property. And I want to make sure I categorize this correctly. So under type, I want to do traditional sale. Status is active because it is an active listing on MLS. And I'm representing the seller this time. So you see with that Search MLS integration that it automatically populated the address here and then the price listed there. And it also inputted that listing date because you can find that on the MLS. But when you select additional fields, you'll see that other information was populated as well. MLS number was populated, the county, property type, public remarks that you inputted on MLS, square footage, bedroom, bathrooms, and all that other good stuff. Now you can add in the other stuff here if needed, but if this is all the information you are needing, you can go ahead and select next. Now it's asking you the commission that you will be receiving for this listing transaction. So I'm going to input 2.5% because I'm representing the listing side. And I want to make sure that I add myself as the listing agent. So I'm going to input my name and hit save. So I know on the listing side that the total compensation would be 5%. but I want to make sure that I'm only tracking the Remax side. I don't want to track the other brokerages side. Otherwise, it just gets a little messy. So we just want to make sure that we focus on our side solely. And you can make those edits here. I'm going to go ahead and select next. And now it's asking me to input the seller. So I'm just going to go ahead and use Jane Smith since I already have her inputted as a contact. And maybe she's ready to sell her home so she can buy a new one. So when that's selected, want to make sure Barbara is selected as the broker. And I'm going to go ahead and hit create. Again, this is what your transaction will look like. I want to go ahead and add a checklist. So I'm going to go ahead here and select add. Make sure you click the correct template. Otherwise, the default is buying commercial. So I'm going to do listing single family. And office admin. Again, since I'm in the Melbourne office, I will go ahead and input Kayla. And hit add. So now here's the checklist that I can work. And once I have all of these completed, I will be able to add another checklist here. So I would only add another checklist if an offer was accepted, but make sure again that you select the correct template. So I want to select buying single family, and now it's asking who the buyer's agent is. I'd be able to add them as a contact here. So let's say that the person is not listed on here. Victoria Palazzo is actually one of our, she's our Cocoa Beach admin, but I want to create a new one and I want to add the buyer's agent. So I want to make sure that I select agent for the category, available to me only, and then their last name. And then input their email. So I created a new contact. She'll be added onto here, and I'm going to go ahead and select add. Now I have a buying checklist that I can work. Just an important info that I wanted to present here. You can see that we inputted submit PAT form. The reason is because when we process closings, the integration takes about 10 minutes for it to sync, and then we'd be able to print your check. So we highly encourage y'all to start submitting paid at the tables. You'll definitely get paid faster on the day of upon signing. Rather than waiting that coming into the office and waiting that at least minimum 10 minutes to process your closing. But I'm going to go up here. I actually want to show you how the search MLS integration translates into a listing agreement. So I'm going to go ahead and click listing agreement and select use forms. So I see that the right of sale listing agreement is automatically populated onto here. This is the correct form that I want to use because it's the transaction broker. And I'm going to go ahead and hit next. And then this is the information that I can input onto here. Please make sure that assigned signer order is deselected. And I'm just going to go ahead and hit next. So now I see that from the search MLS integration and all the information that I inputted on BoldTrail for my contacts populates onto here. So I can see that the seller was inputted here. Remax is automatically populated as the brokerage. The listing date was successfully populated onto here because it was posted on the MLS listing. And then I'm able to just include the ending date here. So I can input when this listing agreement will end. And I can utilize this calendar and I can just select whatever date. Now as I scroll down, I can see that the street was populated, or the property address was populated here. The legal description was populated. The price was populated. Now it may not be accurate on the MLS listing, but luckily you can go in and make that edit if you are like changing the price or whatnot. And then just keep scrolling down. Make sure that all the information is inputted. If you have any additional terms to input, you can type them in now. So I was just going through and making sure that there are no mandatory fields for the client to input any information aside from their signature here. And it looks like we're good. Yeah, we don't need to input any information. So after I went through and reviewed the forms and made sure that everything looks good, I'm going to go ahead and hit save and close. The reason why is because I'm not going to be sending this for e-signature. But in case I am ready to do so at a later time, I can always do that by clicking on the task and then selecting edit/e-sign. It'll ask you just to confirm the signers. And now we want the listing broker to be Barbara. And I'm going to go ahead and hit next. It'll take you back to this editing section for the form. And then I can go ahead and hit this drop down and send for e-sign. Now it's asking for a second seller, but if you don't have that, you can go ahead and click X and then sign and send. It'll repeat the process of the e-signatures. It'll ask for your initials and then it will be able to send that e-signature. I'm going to go ahead and finish that up and then agree. All right. So I signed as the agent and then now I'm just waiting for Barbara's signature and initials and then I'm waiting for my client's signatures and initials. So that's basically just a general overview of what it looks like to create transactions and how to navigate this new BoldTrail back office here. If you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to call our admin team and absolutely utilize this online chat feature here and get connected with the BoldTrail back office support agent. You can search for any articles that you need specifically, or you can ask a question and speak directly to a representative. So just as a general reminder, please attend our training sessions. First, watch this introduction video, watch this BoldTrail beginner video, or attend tomorrow's beginner session, and then come to our intermediate sessions taking place next week. Again, the beginner session for tomorrow is from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., and then we have 2 intermediate sessions scheduled for next week. Again, we are unable to schedule one-on-ones until you watch the introduction video, watch the beginner training video, or attend the training session and then go through with the intermediate sessions. For the intermediate sessions, we will provide a video as well, similar to this one. And just make sure that you take your time, explore this new system, be very patient and give yourself grace. This is a new system, and if you need any additional help, we're always here for you.